Hello! Happy Thursday. It's my Wednesday. And I've already had quite the busy day. It's my husband's birthday today. He is 33. And I am getting ready to go. Alex likes to throw his own parties for himself. So I am getting ready to go and pick up these balloons that he asked me to get. He wants like 2 metallic gold balloons. So I'm going to do that. Oh, well, I have it right here. Well, first of all, 2 things. I just wanted to say thank you to Rachel, who sent me this beautiful postcard from Niagara Falls. I can't show you the back because it has her address. I know it doesn't have her address on it. But anyway, she said, "Hi, Peter. I'm in Ontario at Niagara Falls. Thought I would send you a postcard and let you know it is 10 times more beautiful than it looks in the photo. Love you, Peter. Say hi to Alex, PP, Tucker, and Boo for me, Rachel." Excuse me. So thank you, Rachel. That was awesome. I love postcards. And then, from a hometown viewer, Afton sent me this birthday card. Thank you, Afton. And she also sent me a gift card to Einstein Bagels, which is right by my office, and I get all the time, so I love it. When I go to Einstein's, I get an everything bagel, toasted, and then I get the garden veggie cream cheese, and then I get pepper jack cheese and onion on it. I know that's kind of strange, but that's what I do. So thank you, Afton. That was so amazing. You didn't have to do that, sweetie. You've totally bought my lunch. That's fun. And that's about my life right now. And I'm getting ready to go and pick up these balloons. I'm uploading a video right now as we speak. And I think that's it. And it's going to take me forever to upload this video. And look, these are my fakes, but in my car I found my real ones. And actually what's so funny is, if you want to know the truth, nobody knows the difference between these and Ray-Bans, and these are 10 times more comfortable. So you should probably just go and buy the cheapies. And look, somebody gave my husband this cupcake. Do you want to see it? It looks so good. I had a bite of it last night, but don't tell him. And it is from the Flying Cupcake, which is like supposedly like these great cupcakes here in Indianapolis. And I gave him this little cactus. Screenshot, thumbnail. I love cactus. So anyway, yeah. So I am now in search of these balloons. I was going to go run a bunch of errands today, but I don't think that's going to happen. And then we are having this party tonight, and a bunch of our friends and his family are coming, and it's like on a rooftop. And I was going to try to film it, but I don't think that I can because he's going to have music and stuff playing. So I think I talked about that last night. Anyway, that's about my life. So I'm going to go stuff at the post office too. So I'll talk to you guys in a little bit. So these are my sunglasses, which they look no different. And the other ones are actually more comfortable. Which is so crazy, isn't it? I'm really ready for my new sunglasses that I bought to come, because there was something I wanted to tell you guys. No, I don't remember what it is. Oh, I know what it is. I ordered a pair of those, I think they're called Key, Q-U-A-Y, the ones that Alex has, everybody likes. I ordered a pair of those. I got the ones that Khloe Kardashian has, the Desi Perkins aviators, with the gift card that Dana sent me. So thank you, Dana. So I was thinking about it a lot last night. I was thinking a lot about turning 45. And I was like, you know, like every year on my birthday, I've talked about this before, I don't typically make resolutions. I make goals that I want to achieve for the year. That is so funny, that car. It's like, not an off, it's like, it was called Pearl. I used to drive that, extended Ford Explorer, Pearl. I love that car. But anyway, but every year on my birthday, I typically set goals for like, what do I want to achieve in the next year, or like what I want my life to look like, on and on and on, right? And I was like, I always set these like a lot of them, like 10 or 15 goals. And then, like, I narrow it down to like 5 or 6 a month later, and then those are like the 5 or 6 that I usually work on. And out of that 5 or 6, I typically accomplish 2 or 3 of them, right? I set pretty lofty goals. But like, I was looking through Instagram today, you know, and Instagram for me, like when I see all these guys on there, is all these guys like in great shape, in cute clothes, and I just can't enjoy that because I don't love my body. And this has been something that I've talked about on my channel consistently for like since the beginning, you know? I think one of my very first videos that I made on my main channel was me talking about how I was going to lose weight, and I was eating a piece of pizza by the pool, and it's been like a year since I made that video, and I haven't dieted and I haven't stuck to it or whatever, and I'm like, I struggle so hard because, and I'm sure a lot of you relate to this out there, it's like I know what to do, you know, I know how to eat healthy, I know how to exercise and implement healthy living into my life. I'm not a believer in fad diets. You know, I believe that you have to make lifestyle changes. I believe that healthy eating is the key to most of that. And I've done it at periods of my life where I was like in incredible shape. And this is the worst shape I've ever been in. And it's really affecting my health. Like, I'm tired a lot. I think it affected me getting sick recently. And you can see I still don't have my voice back. And like, I don't blame that on being fat, but I do think that like me just not taking care of myself from a healthy point of view has a lot to do with it. And I have a lot of things that I want to do. I haven't actually talked about this on here for a while because somebody left a comment a couple months ago and was like, either do something about it or shut up and don't talk about it anymore. And it was like so harsh the way that it was said to me, but it kind of woke me up a little bit because I was kind of like, yeah, exactly, like either do something about it or shut your mouth. But I chose to not do anything about it. I chose to shut my mouth. And I think that sometimes maybe talking about it is the healthier way, because the more we talk about it, sooner or later maybe we'll do something about it, if that makes sense. I don't know. That's what I think. So, am I completely like in a blackout zone with this camera? Oh well. You guys, most of you just listen to me anyway. So, I want to finish my books, but that goes without saying. I think my number one and like only goal for the next year of my life is to get in the best shape of my life. Like to eat healthier, to work out, to like let that be the next step that I take in my life progress. You know, and not just get into incredible shape. I mean, don't get me wrong, I would love to be Instagram famous for having an amazing body at 45. But no, I mean, like, you know, like, just feeling good in my own body, feeling good every day that I wake up, being excited. Like, I get excited. Like, I love to eat fast food, but as soon as I eat it, I feel like shit. And I'm to the point now when I know when I'm about to eat it, like, I know I'm already gonna feel like shit before I eat it, right? So, like, things like fresh fruits and juices and, you know, like, almond milks and smoothies and salads, like, sound so good to me. I mean, I used to eat, like, almost raw. I did raw eating for a month, and then 6 months after that I was vegetarian, but almost raw. And, like, I felt so good all the time. But, like, taking the leap to get back there is so hard for me. But I need to do it, because that's what I want my next part of my life to look like, and, you know, for me to get excited about. So, it's not realistic. When we come back the weekend after my birthday, because we're going to Mexico, it's not realistic for me because we have 2 barbecues that weekend, and I am not starting a diet and going to 2 barbecues. I'm just not. So starting July 5th, and I know I've asked people to hold me accountable and stuff before. It's like, it's really hard for me to talk about it right now, you guys, because I know people are like, oh, here we go again, or he's going to talk about it. But, like, I guess the more goals I set, if I just keep on trying, eventually it'll stick and I'll do it, you know? But my goal right now is July 5th to start this. So we'll see. But I don't want to be like this anymore. I don't want to be heavy. I don't want to be out of breath. I don't want to feel tired every day and like, you know, tired when I walk up the stairs. I'm tired of it, you know? And I think a lot of people can relate to that, even if it's like you're in perfect shape but you don't eat healthy, so you feel like shit all the time. Or maybe you don't need to lose 70 pounds. Maybe you only need to lose 5 pounds or 2 pounds, you know? But I'm gonna do it. Like, I'm dead serious about it this time. I almost didn't mention it on here, I thought, because I've lost 9 pounds. And I thought, I'm just not going to mention it. Like, I'll just, you know, and then all of a sudden I'll just, like, be thinner and thinner, and people will be like, have you lost weight? And some people actually have noticed it. But, like, 9 pounds is, it's great, but I can put 9 pounds back on like that, too. So, anyway, that's my goal. My other birthday goals are to finish my 2 books by the end of the year that I'm working on, so that they can get published in 2018. All kinds of stuff. My July goal is to get my merch shop finished and set up, because I'm really dragging my feet on it, because it's so confusing. I actually was talking to my friend Dustin about it the other night, and he said, hey, listen, I got confused on it. If I got confused on it, I know you, because I am not technological. It is so confusing, you guys, to set up one of these shops. But I'll figure it out. I'm about ready just to buy like 100 t-shirts and just put hashtag Wolfpack on there like Autumn did. Make my own t-shirts and send them off to people for $5 a piece. Just pay for shipping and handling. Okay, I'm going in the post office. I'll be back. So my life right now is literally these Mylar balloons, of which Alex is putting outside by the pool. And she told me make sure that you don't put them outside because they will pop if they're in the heat. And I'm like, oh, okay. This woman doesn't know what the fuck she's doing. Don't you hate that? She raced up here because she had to be the first one to turn. And then she got up there and then she didn't know what she was doing because she realized she couldn't turn left. So, get with the program, lady. I really want a smoothie. I wonder if I like leave these in the car, if they'll pop if I go in and get a smoothie. I haven't eaten today, and I haven't, so I'm like, if I have a smoothie, I don't need to have a smoothie. I can't imagine what being this thing super late tonight. He has to work in the morning. I want you to show me the way. So what's going on? What's the 411? These were $25. They were $10 each balloon, and then the thing to hold them down was each $1.99. My thumbnail. I want you. I feel like I spend the major part of my day just singing. Do you guys do that? Are you singers? What do you sing? Leave it in the comment section below what you sing. Doesn't really like cake, so like there's no point for me to even bring a cake. He likes tres leches, which I can't make and I don't know where to buy, so I won't be getting that. Maybe his mom will bring it. Melissa and Jason are coming. His mom and his grandma are coming. His aunt and uncle are coming. A bunch of friends of ours are coming. I'm excited about it. Like when you're on Instagram and you like want to go see somebody's thing. I'm trying to unfollow this person, and you go to, oh, that's cute, and you go to their thing and you hit their name, but instead it takes you to like their videos. Like, I hate that. Be home in like 5 minutes so that I can start getting ready, and that is not going to happen because it is like quitting hour time. And it's Alex's birthday, so I have to be ready right when he says we have to be ready or I'll be in trouble. Or I'll be in trouble. Like, what if you're in trouble? No, man. I'm going to vlog a little bit later because these balloons are driving me nuts and I'm just rambling at this point. So. Hello. So I just left Alex's birthday party. There's only like 5 people left, but he wanted to stay there. It's at this pool party. Like, not pool party, but it's at this pool in this apartment complex. It was really nice, actually. And I had a good time, but it's 11:30 and I haven't eaten today and I've got to get something to eat. They're just sitting around there drinking champagne, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna leave. So his friend was like, I can take him home if you want to leave, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna leave. So I left, and his family was there, and his mom, and his brother, and my sister-in-law, and my nephews, his grandma, and Melissa and Jason came, and a bunch of our friends came. So it was fun. And I sat around and I caught up with a bunch of people. And you can see I actually dressed nice and did my hair for once. So yeah, it was a good time. We had a good time. And now I need to get something to eat, but I'm like, it's 11:30, and I'm like, what to eat at 11:30? I really just kind of want a sandwich or something, but like, I've been like really eating those, or really into eating those like peanut butter cracker things. So I might just get some of those at the gas station, if the gas station's still open. Oh, I forgot I had a water. I bought these waters for us. He wanted a water on the way down there, so I bought him a water. I'm so thirsty. But it was fun. We had a really good time, and it was very low-key. Played some, like, loungy, chill music, and then had my balloons. It was very cute. When Alex and I first started dating, his birthdays were, like, off the chart. But since we're going to Mexico, we're, like, doing Mexico for our birthdays, so there's no reason to go, like, completely crazy, right? We both kind of agree with that. And I'm super excited because Wentworth started tonight. And Wentworth is like my favorite show ever. And I don't even really remember how it ended. But Tanya texted me that it was on, and then I looked on Facebook, and she had said something about Facebook, on Facebook about it being on, and then I called her, and she didn't answer, and I'm like, girl, you are avoiding me. so funny on my main channel. It's like, if I do drama videos, I get a lot of views. If I don't do drama videos, I don't get a lot of views. And it's like very obvious that people love the drama. Like, that's what they want, you know? Even though most people won't admit that that's what they want. That that's really what people want, is drama. The gossip, all that kind of stuff. Which, I mean, I don't mind. I like doing that stuff, but it's just kind of funny, don't you think? I have a counseling appointment at, like 10 o'clock in the morning. I don't know why I scheduled it that early. It was stupid. Who gets up that early? Not me. And then I have an appointment in the afternoon at 3 o'clock, so it's like, and I know that once I'm done, I won't be able to go back to sleep, because I never can. I kind of convinced myself that I was going to stop at Taco Bell or McDonald's, but that McDonald's is like packed, and now Taco Bell doesn't sound good, and I am trying to eat a little bit healthier 2 days before I leave for Mexico, but who cares? Like, as if I'm gonna like make any kind of impact in 2 days. Steak and Shake sounds good too. God, all these places are packed tonight. Like, that is crazy. I wonder why they're so packed. I feel like this day has been like non-stop. Like, I have been going since like 9:30 this morning, because I had to be in my office at 11. And then I got my hair cut. I just been going all day long today. You guys are actually getting me earlier than most people do. Most people do. You guys are actually getting me earlier than I usually am on here, because typically I'm on here like at 2 o'clock in the morning. But I was like, I'm driving home from downtown, so I might as well vlog while I'm driving downtown. Birthdays are funny, aren't they? I can't believe Alex is 33. You know, like when I met him, he was 24. And I was talking to his mom, and for a long time, his mom calls me her oldest son, and we were like talking about our marriage, and she was asking about like marriage counseling and stuff. And she's like such a proponent of like counseling, and she goes to like, oh my God, Taco Bell is super packed. She goes to like pastoral counseling with her priest. She's Catholic, and she always does. Like, even when nothing's going on, she goes, because she so believes in it. And she's like, I'm so glad that you guys are going so you can communicate better. And she's like, I know so many couples that it seems like on the outside like everything's okay, and then over time they just kind of like stop communicating and stop talking and stop meeting each other's needs. And I think like that's the thing that people don't understand. It's like, it's almost kind of like forbidden to tell people that you're in marriage counseling, because they're like, well, what's wrong? What happened? You know, like, and but like, it has helped us so much. Like, Alex is not somebody that like is big on like identifying feelings, and it's like really helping him with that. It's really helping me like look at how like I'm too emotional sometimes. You guys know I cry all the time, right? And I don't think there's anything wrong with that, but like that's a heavy burden to bear for one person, and like I think a lot of times Alex doesn't know what to do with that. So we're like learning how to communicate to one another and like ask each other specifically for what we need and things like that. And she was like, you know, like I look around at all these couples, his mom was saying, you know, I look around at all these couples who seemingly have these great relationships, and then all of a sudden they just get divorced, and it's like, well, what happened, you know? Like, I see it happen all the time, you know? I'll be out to dinner with somebody and they'll be like, oh, everything's going great, and now the kid's this. Excuse me. The kid's this and the kid's that, and then the next week you're like, oh, how are you guys doing? Oh, well, we're separated. Well, what happened? Oh, it's been really bad for a really long time. Like, Alex and I kind of have this rule that, like, if we're arguing and we're going somewhere public, like, we don't take the argument into, like, what we're doing. Like, if we're going to a party or whatever, like, we don't play it out, like, at the party, because that's not fair to our friends and our family, if that makes sense. But we don't bullshit about it either. Like, if we're going through a rough patch, like, typically our friends and our family know, like, Alex and Peter are, like, they're in a rough patch right now. And, you know, we've been together almost 9 years, and the reality is, it'll be 9 years in August. The reality is, if you think we haven't been through any, I love when I see couples say, we don't ever fight. Our relationship is, if you have never fought, you might want to question the stability of your relationship, because the fact that you will be together long term with somebody and never argue over one thing, like, that doesn't say that you guys have a great relationship. That means that somebody is not talking. That means that somebody is not sharing how they feel. And we don't fight all the time, thank God. We fought a lot when we first got together because we were so different. But now we don't. And now our, like, I wouldn't even call them fights, you know, like, now our discussions are different than how they used to be. You know, we'll sit down, not in the bedroom, but, like, you know, in the living room or in the car, and be like, okay, so I fucked up. What should I have done differently? Well, I wish you would have asked me before you made plans for us, you know? Okay, I can do that next time. And it doesn't have to be this 3-hour conversation of people fighting and arguing, you know? Like, and I think that that's, like, you grow as you get older in a relationship together and you get to know each other. And I think that's the wonderful thing about being with somebody, you know, is that you can kind of, like, figure that out over time, and that makes sense. I don't know. Maybe it doesn't make any sense at all. Who am I to know, I guess? I know I still love my husband very much. And I think he loves me very much, too. He got a Gucci scarf from his friend tonight. He was so excited about it. She's like, no, you can't wear it till the winter. I was like, he will have that thing on in the bedroom tonight. Alright, guys, well, listen, I'm gonna get off here, and I will be back in just a little while. Okay, now it's the end of the night. It's like 1:20. And Alex just texted me that he and another one of his girlfriends went to go eat at Kilroy's, which is like this college-y kind of bar place, to go eat. And I still haven't eaten. I ate some candy bars. Those Australian, that Funda sent me, I ate some of these Australian koala chocolates. They were so good. And, I started watching, like, the first 5 minutes of Wentworth. I was so excited. Oh, I can't believe it. Do you guys watch Wentworth? I was like, seriously? Seriously? Are we gonna do this? Seriously? My grocery store's going out of business. I can't believe it. It's like weird when you get older and shit changes, you know? And like you realize that, like, you know, when your parents, like when you were growing up and you're like, oh, they'd be like, oh, that used to be this diner that we used to go to. And then they'd be like, oh, this was this coffee shop. And oh, that house, you know, see that right now? That's a nail salon and strip mall. Well, that was Grandma and Grandpa's first house. You know, like when they used to say that to you and you'd be like, ugh, so boring, right? But as you get older, it's like, you're the same way. It's so weird, you know? It's like stuff that like I got arrested right here. This is where I got arrested. And this, which Five Below and Dollar Tree now, how fitting, is a used to be this bar called Coconuts. And right next to it was this grocery store, Kroger. And when I put my car into the side, I didn't get arrested there, but that's where I went into treatment. When I put my car into the side of Perkins Restaurant, my dad said you can go to treatment or you can go to jail, and I was not stupid, so I went to treatment. But I remember I walked over to that Kroger, and I remember, like, people looking at me. I don't remember, like, I remember being in there and people, like, staring at me. And I didn't, like, till later, like, much later, like, months later, my dad told me how he found me, and I was wearing, like, I don't know why I took my jeans off. I don't know if they were, like, stuck, or, like, because I, got into an accident. I don't know if they were, like, stuck in a part of the car or something, and I had to take them off, but, like, I had these, like, I used to have these big black utility boots. They were, like, Doc Martens, and they had this, like, spandex kind of thing on the side, and you just, like, slipped them on, but they were, like, calf high. And I had those on with, like, big white, not big, but, like, the sports socks. What are those called? I can't think of those high top socks. I can't think of what they're called. They're like stripes, blue stripes on white. And then I had on like a white t-shirt, boxer shorts, and a black biker jacket. And that's what my dad found me in. And it was like -2 degrees that night. But I remember I walked into that Kroger and I had like random money on me. I had like $25, $20 on me, but it was like all in ones and fives. It's real weird. But anyway, I guess, like that's not weird when I think back on drinking. You give somebody a 10 and they give you change back and whatever. But so I remember I like went up there and I like bought as many packs of cigarettes as I could because I knew I was either going into treatment or I was going to jail in either place. And at the time you could smoke in jail. I was smart enough that I knew that I was going to want to have cigarettes in treatment or in jail. Isn't that crazy that like I thought that way? That I was like clear enough to like be like, I'm gonna need to have this. I remember when I went into treatment, my friend Clara called me. So my sobriety date is December 17th. That was the first day that I did not drink or use any kind of substances. December 17th, 1994. And like on the 19th, okay, so the 17th would have been my first day in treatment, so it would have been the 18th. So like on the 19th, Indianapolis that year got hit with really bad weather. 19th or 20th, I can't remember. But anyway, sometime before Christmas, we got hit with really bad weather. Because I was like in treatment and like nobody could get to me to bring me stuff. But my friend Clara brought me, like the day after I came in. I mean, I went in at like 4 o'clock in the morning, but like I got admitted at like 6 o'clock in the morning, so that was like my first full day. And then my second day, she like called me and she was like, is there anything you need? And I was like, I want Michael Crichton books. I was like very specific, because I had just read Jurassic Park. And I was like, I want Michael Crichton books. And I want like 2 cartons of cigarettes. And I was smoking Camel Light Wides at the time, those wides. And I said, and I want Aveda Shampure with conditioner, like in this mint conditioner that I used. And like I look back on that, I didn't even like question it, like how much it was cost, And she brought me like literally like all these people are texting me at like 1:30 in the morning. She brought me like every Michael Crichton book that he had out at that point. Because that's actually a funny story later. And then she brought me like 2 cartons of cigarettes, and she brought me the shampoo and conditioner from Aveda. And I remember she came into my room, and she was like really concerned about me, and she's like, are you doing okay? Now, I've told this story, and I have started writing my treatment memoirs that I don't know that I'll ever release, but I had in detox, I had a roommate that forced himself on me the first night. He was discharged the second night, thank God. And I fought him off. Kind of. But we'll just save that for another story time. But anyway, what was was kind of an ugly situation. I've talked about it on here, I think, once before. But anyway, so she's like, "Are you doing okay?" And she told me this later. I don't remember this. I like held up these footies because like all you had in detox was like a long hospital robe and like hospital pajamas, and like they gave you like a t-shirt, and then like I was holding up these footies that you had to wear, and I go, "Clara, seriously, what has my life become?" And I was such a spoiled brat snot at that point. And you know, it's so funny because like, yes, treatment taught me how to stay sober. Yes, treatment detoxed me, which those things are wonderful and those things were necessary. But treatment really humbled my ass, you know? And it really taught me, baby, you ain't no better than anybody else, okay? Because I was in there with 30 men and we were all bound by our addiction. And let me just tell you, our backgrounds couldn't have been more diverse. And I came in there thinking that my shit did not stink. And I left there thinking, I'm really grateful for my life. And that this is such a life or death disease, you know? And I don't know that I ever thanked Clara for that, but she was a really good friend of mine in my early sobriety. It's funny when you think back on times like that, you know, but I read every one of those Michael Crichton books. I literally read one a day. He's still to this day one of my favorite authors. He passed away a couple years ago. They just released a book of his that they found. But he's been one of my favorite authors for years and years and years and years. And what is going on here? There's always construction in the summertime in Indiana. And I read every single one of them, and it must have like got me to the point of New Year's Eve, because on New Year's Eve I stayed back from the 12-step dance. There's like 12-step programs had New Year's dances back there that were really a big deal and everybody wanted to go to them. And I asked my counselor if I could have my hairstylist come in and cut my hair. And she said, "No, princess. In fact, I think it would be great for you to have to stay back here and, you know, realize that these are luxuries that people get to go out and do these things." And I don't know that I've told this story on here before, but I'll tell it in a second. About the pickle lady. Have I told the pickle lady story before? It's really important for me. So anyway, I stayed back and I went up to the counter and I had like finished my last book, and I said to the tech that was working there, I said, "Do you guys have anything good to read back there?" And he literally like threw this, you know, basic text of Alcoholics Anonymous at me, and he said, "Yeah, why don't you try this?" He was really shitty with me, and I was like, God, how rude. And that night, like, it was Christmas Eve was when I went to the pickle lady meeting. I went to this meeting on Christmas Eve, and I was out of cigarettes, and I knew that they would stop. I've shared this story so many times, but anyway, it doesn't matter. The point of the story is I went to this meeting, and I heard this woman share her lead, and I thought it was crazy and all this kind of stuff, and she had this big jar of pickles on her counter. I actually told this story in a vlog right here. Like, I'm having deja vu. But anyway, you know, Sylvia Brown, the psychic, said deja vu was when you're exactly where you're supposed to be at the blueprint of your life. Anyway, she had this big jar of pickles, and at the end of her meeting, she looked like, "Oh, there's deer." She looked right at me and she said, "And that's why I carry this jar of pickles wherever I go, because I used to be a cucumber, but now I'm a pickle. And when you get pickled, you can never go back." And I was like, I am so screwed. Like, I knew when she said that the party was over, you know? I had a friend of mine visit who had moved to New York City. And we used to party like crazy back in the day. And he had moved to New York City. And I was like, when two of my friends actually came to visit me in treatment on like Christmas Day, I didn't want anybody to come visit me. I told my family not to come. I didn't want anybody to come. And so I was talking to these friends of mine, and I was like, well, who's home? Like, that's all I was consumed with, like, my first 2 weeks, you know? Who's home? Who's this? Who's that? I had been dating this guy, and we broke up right before I came in, and, like, I'm not going to blame it on anybody, but he is who introduced me to cocaine, and it is what it is, but it's not his fault. But I probably would never have started using it had it not been for him. But anyway, who knows? I mean, if I had been at some other party and somebody had introduced it to me. But I was, like, consumed with where he was at and what was going on with him and all that kind of stuff. And I remember they told me about this friend of mine, and I was like, oh, is he home? And they're like, yeah. And I was like, oh, didn't make it in New York? Like, I was real, you know. And they're like, no, actually, he's doing really well there. And, you know, he's been dating this guy for a year, and they just bought this apartment. And I was like, oh, they did? And they were like, yeah, but, like, they're renovating it. It's like a $500,000 apartment. He's dating this guy that does such and such architecture. And I'm like, well, does he still, like, go out and party all the time in New York City? And they're like, oh, no. Like, he's, like, taking his career very seriously. And I was sitting there talking to these two guys that were in college at the time. They were, like, older than me by 4 or 5 years. They had to work and go to college at the same time, and they were almost done. And they're like, oh, yeah, and, like, exams. And I thought, oh, my God, like, the party is over, and I didn't even realize it. I will never forget having that moment of clarity where I was like, I can remember it. Close my eyes, and I can see myself sitting there in that cafeteria, dingy-ass cafeteria, and I was like, Peter, the party is over. The people are not partying like you. Like, it's done. It's over. And you just continue to go on like it was 4 years ago, you know? People are taking exams and thinking about what they're going to do when they graduate and moving away, and you're just doing the same shit, you know? And that was kind of actually my wake-up call. That, and that my dad came in and he made me sign this contract. Well, okay, so when I was growing up and I had to go to all of these treatment programs, this was not my first time at the rodeo, they would always do behavior contracts. And this is like a big deal with teenagers, right? Where you say like, this, and then they sign it, right? Like, your curfew will be blah, 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 that kind of stuff. And if you do not come home at this time, then this is the consequence, and yada, 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 and then you agree to it and sign it. Well, my dad at the time was paying all my bills, my apartment, my rent, everything. Gave me a car to drive, was paying for my education, because the deal was, as long as I was in school, he would pay for all that stuff. And this was part of my parents' divorce decree, okay? Now, today, every year at my sobriety date, I call my dad, and I try to take him out to lunch and thank him for my sobriety, because he paid for my last treatment. We paid for all my treatments, and for my education, because my dad paid for all of my education, of which I'm so incredibly thankful for. It's one of the greatest gifts that he ever gave me. And for anybody out there that thinks it's your parents' responsibility to pay for your education, you're wrong. And I actually think those people, like my husband, that worked and paid for their education, take it a lot more seriously. But anyway, so that had been the deal. Well, my dad was so done. I mean, he was so angry at me when I was in treatment, because I totally duped him once again, right? And he was like, so I met with him, and I met with the doctor. The doctor, the addictionologist, who was like world-renowned, that just happened to work across the street from my dad, so they knew each other. And like, he'd been working with like street addicts for years and years and years, so like my manipulation game was nothing on him. And so they sat me down and they went over this contract, and the contract was like, you will have a sponsor, you'll call your sponsor every day, you'll go to 90 meetings in 90 days, and when you finish that, you'll repeat it again 4 times a year. You'll participate in your aftercare program. You'll have a counselor that you go to twice a week. All this kind of stuff. I mean, it was on and on and on. You'll have no access to money until you've been sober for 6 months. At that point, you will be allowed to get a job, but the checking account will be held by, you know, it just was on and on and on and on. And I was just like, so done. And my dad was just sitting there, and he was just fuming, and he was so pissed. And I was like, where do I sign it? Like, I said it like kind of snotty, and he goes, what do you mean? And I go, where do I sign it? I'll sign it. And he goes, you don't sign it. He goes, I'm done with those fucking behavior contracts. And I said, okay. And I'll never forget, the doctor was sitting there, and he, like, my dad, like, took it, and he, like, crossed it all out, and at the top, he wrote, if you use, get out of my life, or something like that, or he, like, crossed it out, and then he looked at me and said it. He was like, if you use, I'm done with you. Like, I don't really give a shit. Don't do this stuff. Don't do this stuff. You know what you need to do from being in here to stay sober. If you don't want to do it, don't do it, but I don't want to ever see you again. I'm done. He was so done, right? And then I had to have a family session to get out of treatment, okay? This is gold, right? So I have to have this family session where you sit in a circle, and all of the families and the patients, and then the family member and the patient sit in the middle of the circle and go at each other, or have some kind of conversation or whatever. And you're supposed to apologize to your family member, and then they're supposed to respond, right? Just listen and respond. Well, I knew not to have my mom come in there because my mother had her own drinking issues. And I knew she'd be making it all about this and that and all these. I knew. I just don't have her in there. She talked. Listen, I talk, she talks. So I was like, I'll never get out of here. So I asked my dad. Well, my dad walked across the street. His office was right across the street. He walked across the street, middle of January. He's got this suit on, you know. He comes in there, and we're sitting there, and they're like, Peter, and you and your dad's turn. So we go in there. And these guys are like, get him, Peter's dad. Let him have it, Peter. You know, give it to Peter. Give it to... Like, they really want my dad to come for me, right? And I sat there, and I didn't know what to say. And I'll never forget, my dad just looked at me. And he kind of looked up, and he had, like, one tear going down his cheek. And like I've said, my dad is, like, this really big... masculine guy, and I've seen him cry before, but not a lot. And I've seen him get emotional, but not a lot. He's very affectionate, but one tear. He didn't wipe it away, and he stood up, and he looked at me, and he pointed, and he said, "You're pissing your life away, and you don't even realize it." He said, "You wanted a family session so you could get out of here? Here's your family session." And he walked out of the room. And like, those words have resonated with me for 22 and a half years. You're pissing your life away and you don't even realize it. And I think about that sometimes, not even just in the context of alcohol and drugs, but in the context of not doing something with our lives. You know, even if it's just reading a book or reading an article or Googling something or finding out something, you know, like I love to like find out new shit all the time, you know, or just teaching yourself Twitter, or, you know, taking pictures with your phone, or getting coloring books, or whatever. It doesn't have to be anything deep. Just don't piss your life away, you know? We were given this to enjoy, or it just was all happenstance, whatever you want to choose to believe, but it's yours to do with it, you know? And like, and that's why I read that every morning, that it's a new day prayer / poem, because I want to be reminded every day that it's the beginning of a new day to do with what I want, you know? And how would I like to remember it? Gain and not loss, you know? Because I'm exchanging a day of my life for it. And that's pretty powerful to me. You're pissing your life away and you don't even realize it. And yet my dad could sit back and see it and enable it, which he has not done, not 1 second has he enabled me at all in the last 22 and a half years. That man learned that lesson that day. He was done. He was no more enabling for him. He hasn't enabled me not one bit. And it saved our relationship, and it saved my life, you know? I think it's hard to be a parent, you know? I think it's one of the reasons why I've never wanted to be a parent. Being a parent is the one career that there's absolutely no training for. Nobody can tell you what to do because every situation is completely different. No child is the same, no parent is the same, no living situation is the same. And yet it is probably the most judged career, you know? And I call it a career because it definitely is. Sometimes I like look at my nephews and I think, God, I kind of wish I would have had kids. And then like tonight when like Sebastian almost fell into the pool and 5 of them were like I'm like, oh no, ma'am, I couldn't do that. I'd be a nervous wreck all the time, you know? So anyway, I guess the moral to tonight's lesson is don't piss your life away. I'm so thankful that he said that to me though, you know? Well, I'm gonna get something to eat. I'm hungry. I don't know what for, but it's kind of late now. There's not a whole lot open. Yeah, well, Peter, you kind of screwed things up, so. I should have just gone. I wanted to get like a turkey sandwich, was what I was really hungry for. But now it's too late for a turkey sandwich. Anyway, all right, you guys. I will be back tomorrow. Are you excited about the Mexico vlogs? Oh my God, how exciting. Are you gonna go to Mexico with me? You're gonna get to see the room and the resort and everything. It's coming real soon. All right, you guys, I love you. Bye.